There will come a day when the silence of your room will feel heavier than your own breath. A day when the ticking of the clock will sound more like a warning than a rhythm. And in that moment, your soul will whisper a question you can no longer ignore. Why didn't you start when you still had time? We are masters at delay, architects of excuses. We build entire lives out of tomorrows that never arrive. And yet, the clock doesn't wait for our fear to settle. The world doesn't pause while we figure ourselves out. The people you admire, the ones you say are blessed or lucky or chosen, they are not waiting. They are building. They are moving. They are beginning. So why haven't you? You weren't born to spectate. You weren't placed here to rehearse your potential over and over until you die with the script still in your hand. You were born to begin. Even if you're uncertain, even if you're scared, even if your voice shakes and your knees tremble and your hands are stained with the failures of your past, begin. Because the cost of not beginning is a life of slow regret. Flow into belief and decision too. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a decision. Thomas Edison didn't wait for clarity. He moved with conviction. 10,000 failed attempts at the light bulb weren't failures. They were beginnings. Each time the world said, "It didn't work," Edison answered, "Then I am one step closer." That's belief. That's decision. That's the refusal to let time become your enemy. We say we're waiting for the right time, but time is not your servant. It's your test. And most people fail that test not because they're weak, but because they believe the lie that later is a strategy. Let me tell you this. Later is not a strategy. Later is a trap. You say you'll write the book, later. You say you'll build the business, later. You say you'll heal the relationship, later. You say you'll forgive, start, grow, become, later. But every day you repeat that word, you are signing a silent contract with the grave, a contract that says, "I'm okay dying with this dream still inside me." Flow into clarity and vision 3. The man who waits for clarity before he moves is the man who stands still while the world passes him by. Clarity does not come before the vision. Clarity is born in motion. Walt Disney saw an entire kingdom of imagination before a single stone was laid. People thought he was insane. They laughed. They pointed. They said, "You're a dreamer." And he said, "Exactly." He didn't wait for everyone to believe. He believed first. He painted a castle in the sky and then walked into the mud to build it. That's how clarity works. It follows the bold. It rewards the mover. It shows up when you do. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. Start building. The vision in your mind is not there by accident. It was placed there by purpose. It was born in you for a reason. And the longer you ignore it, the louder the pain of your inaction becomes. Flow into purpose and fire 4. Purpose is not something you find. It's something you ignite. It's the fire that roars when you say, "I will no longer waste the breath I've been given." Henry Ford didn't build the automobile because he had all the answers. He built it because he was sick of watching the world move in circles while possibility stood still. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't beg for applause. He just moved. And when the world saw his courage, they followed his engine into the future. You think purpose is out there, somewhere in the distance, waiting for you to find it. But purpose is within you. It's the silent unrest, the quiet frustration, the deep, unshakable knowing that your life was meant for more than comfort and comparison. You don't need to go find your purpose. You need to stop silencing it because it's already screaming your name. Begin while you still have time. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when the kids grow up. Not when the job settles. Not when the fear goes away. Discipline and daily devotion in 5. The world does not reward intentions. It rewards discipline. You can dream all night, but if you don't rise with the sun and move, your dreams become dust. Andrew Carnegie didn't become one of the wealthiest men in history by hoping for wealth. He lived in a small one-room home, poor, uneducated, unknown. But every morning, before the world even blinked, he was awake. Not chasing money, chasing mastery, because discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Most people aren't missing talent, they're missing consistency. They're motivated on Monday, distracted by Tuesday, and completely defeated by Friday. But let me ask you, what would your life look like if you didn't break promises to yourself? What would your future become if you treated your goals with the same sacred urgency you treat your rent, your bills, your survival? Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom in disguise. It's the ability to trust yourself, to look in the mirror and say, I said I would, and I did. And every time you honor that vow, you create a version of yourself that is unstoppable. Power of Small Beginnings 6. You think you need a miracle to start, but history shows us it's always the small beginnings that change the world. A poor immigrant boy named Nikola Tesla sat in a room with a notebook and a mind full of lightning. He had no team, no funding, no applause. Just a vision and an obsession to begin. From that one mind came the blueprint for the modern world. You see, God doesn't need you to be impressive. He needs you to be available. And you don't need a stadium to begin. You need a corner, a notebook, a quiet commitment to no longer wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is always now. Because when you move, the universe moves with you. When you commit, doors appear that you never saw before. When you start with what you have, you're already wealthier than the man who has everything but doubts. Don't underestimate the power of a small, quiet beginning, because that's how revolutions are born. Courage in becoming 7. You think you're waiting to become someone else, stronger, braver, smarter. But what if I told you the person you're waiting for is already inside you? You are not your fear. You are not your failures. You are not the version of you that was shaped by pain, rejection, betrayal, or limitation. You are the one who survived those things. And that means you're already more powerful than you think. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election. He was mocked, dismissed, told he'd never be a leader. But he didn't need validation to begin. He needed courage. And when he walked into his purpose, the entire nation followed him. This is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you are beneath the hesitation. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you act anyway. So act. Say yes to the thing you've buried. Say yes to the idea you've shelved. Say yes to the life that scares you. Because that life is waiting for you to show up. Flow into inner fire in Identity 8. There is a fire in you that doesn't need permission to burn. It just needs a match. Every morning you wake up, you are handed one matchstick, choice. You can use it to light a distraction, or you can use it to light your destiny. Most people smother their fire with excuses. They dim their own brilliance to make others comfortable. They become shadows in their own stories. But not you. Not anymore. Because the truth is, you are not here to blend in. You are not here to live in slow motion while your soul rots in a cubicle of safety. You are here to awaken, to unfold, to roar. You are here to take that fire inside you and let it consume every lie that told you you're too late, too old, too broken, too small. Because when the fire of identity is lit, nothing can stop the man who finally remembers who he is. On Failure and Reframing 9. They told you failure is the end. They were wrong. Failure is not the closing chapter. It's the sharpening of the blade. Every fall carves something out of you, your arrogance, your distractions, your illusions, until all that's left is truth. Walt Disney was fired for lacking creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Jobs was kicked out of the very company he created. And yet, each one returned, wiser, sharper, hungrier. Because failure, my friend, is not your enemy. It is your forge. And if you learn to walk into the fire without flinching, you'll come out on the other side with something no one can teach: conviction. You begin again. Smarter, inked cleaner. More dangerous than before. So stop treating your past as evidence that you can't rise. Start treating it as the exact reason you must. There is no shame in stumbling. There is only shame in staying on the ground when the world is begging you to stand. On Time and Mortality 10, you don't have forever. And deep down, you know it. We spend our lives pretending we are infinite. We plan our days like we're immortal. But the truth is you have no idea how many pages remain in your book. And one day, without warning, the last page will arrive. Will you meet it with peace or panic? You say you're too tired. You say you'll get to it later. But the clock doesn't care about your reasons. It only asks one question. What did you do with the time you were given? Most people spend their lives avoiding this truth. But the ones who break through, the ones who become legends, they embrace it. They know every breath is a decision. Every day is an investment. Every moment is a door that can either stay closed or be walked through. And the only way to honor time is to begin. Not perfectly, not confidently, but fully. Flow into vision without permission. 11. You don't need their approval. You don't need them to understand. Your vision wasn't given to them. It was given to you. You were chosen for a path that no one else sees. And that is not a mistake. It is a responsibility. Every innovator was once considered delusional. Every trailblazer was once ridiculed. Every genius was once ignored. Until they couldn't be. Until their results silenced every critic. Until their reality caught up with their vision. So stop looking sideways. Stop asking people who've never left the shore if you're ready to sail. They don't know your wind. They don't know your storm. They don't know your soul. Build the life that they will only understand after you've built it. Speak the idea that shakes your own voice. Act on the dream that keeps waking you up. Design the future that doesn't exist yet because you are the architect. On Fear and Forward Motion 12. Fear is loud, but it is not your master. It shouts in your head. It shows you visions of everything that could go wrong. It convinces you that playing small is wisdom. But fear has one fatal flaw. It cannot follow you through motion. Once you move, once you act, once you begin, fear loses its grip. It only has power in the pause. Do you understand? The longer you hesitate, the louder it grows. But the moment you take a step, it fades into the background like an echo from another life. You weren't made to be ruled by hesitation. You were made to be moved by faith. And faith isn't loud. Faith is a whisper that says, go anyway. Go, even if your knees shake. Go, even if your voice cracks. Go, even if every voice in your past told you you'd never make it. Because on the other side of that fear is everything you were born for. On Action Over Analysis 13. You don't need more thinking. You don't need another podcast, another book, another affirmation. You need movement. Action is the cure for overthinking. Motion is the antidote to paralysis. Because clarity does not live in your mind, it lives in your steps. How many dreams have died in the graveyard of endless research? How many callings have been choked by the noose of hesitation? You are not stuck. You are simply sitting still, waiting for certainty in a world that only rewards the bold. And make no mistake, action does not mean giant leaps. Sometimes it means writing one line. Waking up 10 minutes earlier. Turning down the distraction. Saying yes to what terrifies you. Or saying no to what's been draining you for years. The life you want doesn't need a grand entrance. It needs a first step, so take it. Before the overthinking becomes your identity. Before the dream becomes a regret. On Identity and Becoming 14. You are not what happened to you. You are not what they said about you. You are not the failures you've lived through. You are who you decide to become next. Most people live on autopilot. They inherit identities. They become the names, the labels, the wounds they never question. But if you want transformation, real, permanent transformation, you must choose who you are becoming. You don't wait to become that person. You start living like them today. Want to be disciplined? Then stop saying, "I'm not a morning person." Wake up and act like a disciplined person would. Want to be wealthy? Stop saying, "I've always been bad with money." Start thinking, managing, and speaking like someone who attracts wealth. Want to be powerful? Then walk like it. Speak like it. Believe like it. Because the version of you dream of is not waiting for the right time, they're waiting for you to show up. Now, on greatness and responsibility, 15. You were not born to blend into mediocrity. You were born to carry something great. Greatness is not a luxury. It is a responsibility. When you were formed, before the pain, before the doubt, a seed of power was placed in your spirit. But seeds don't grow by being admired. They grow by being planted, watered, worked, tested. You don't become great by declaring it. You become great by enduring everything greatness requires of you. Long nights, lonely roads, bitter setbacks. Silence when you wish for applause. Growth when it feels like breaking. But hear me. Those who rise to greatness don't see those things as burdens. They see them as proof. I was built for this. You wouldn't be facing this moment if you weren't strong enough to conquer it. The weight is heavy because the crown is real. On legacy and urgency, 16. When it's all said and done, when your name is no longer spoken in conversations, what will you leave behind? A trail of what-ifs? A museum of unfinished plans? A grave full of unbirthed ideas? Or will you leave a wake so powerful that your name becomes a verb? That's what legacy is. It's not just what you leave behind, it's what you ignite in others long after you're gone. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't have more time than you. He just used it better. He didn't wait to become perfect. He began with conviction. He knew that every delay would cost lives, dreams, dignity. And you may not be called to change the world, but you are absolutely called to change your world. To take the breath in your lungs and turn it into action. To take the pain in your story and turn it into purpose. Because every second you wait, your legacy starves. And one day, the curtain will fall. And when it does, let the world say, they didn't waste a minute. On the pain of inaction, 17. There is a kind of pain that doesn't scream. It doesn't bleed. It doesn't bruise. It just lingers. Quiet. Heavy. Invisible to the world, but soul-crushing to the one who carries it. It's the pain of knowing you could have. You could have written the book. You could have healed the wound. You could have built the vision. You could have become the person you were born to be. But you didn't. You waited. You postponed. You rationalized. And somewhere between one day and not now, your life became a collection of excuses you memorized too well. Regret is the real poison. It is not loud in your 30s. It's barely audible in your 40s. But by the time you're 70, it shouts. By 80, it screams. And on your deathbed, it doesn't whisper. It roars. So I ask you, what pain are you choosing? The pain of effort today, or the pain of regret forever? Because one fades, the other follows you into eternity. On repetition and mastery, 18. Excellence is boring. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's a whisper repeated 1,000 times. Do it again. You don't become great by doing something once. You become great by doing it, until greatness becomes who you are. Michael Jordan didn't shoot because it was exciting. He shot because it was necessary. Thousands of shots before sunrise when no one was watching. That's what made him legendary. And yet we say, I tried once, and it didn't work. Try again, and again, and again. Until your name becomes a symbol of consistency. Until your habits become your identity. Until your life becomes the proof that discipline always wins. You want to be remembered? Then master something. Obsess over your craft. Bleed into your mission. Drown the world in your repetition. Because mediocrity fears the man who refuses to stop. On Environment and Influence 19. You will never fly if you keep building nests with people who are afraid of heights. Environment matters. It's not just the place you live, it's the people you allow into your atmosphere. It's the energy you permit into your mind. Jim Rohn said it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So who are your 5? Do they push you, or do they pacify you? Do they call out your greatness, or do they celebrate your stagnation? It's hard to become a lion when you surround yourself with sheep. And sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is deleting the voices that no longer serve your vision. If they don't inspire you, challenge you, or sharpen you, they're distracting you. Your destiny is too sacred to be shared with the casual. On Urgency and Divine Timing 20, you think you have time. But time is not your servant, it is your judge. Every breath you've taken so far was a down payment. Every moment you're given now is a final warning. Do not wait. Divine timing is real, but divine timing favors the prepared. Noah didn't build the ark when the rain started. He built it in the sun. Mocked, alone, misunderstood. But he was ready. And when the storm came, the man who looked foolish yesterday became the only one who could float today. There will be storms in your life. There will be chaos. There will be unexpected, unimaginable winds that threaten to break everything you built. But if you start now, if you begin while you still have time, you will not drown. You will rise. On Self-Trust and Inner Authority. 21. You've been waiting for someone to give you permission, to tell you you're ready, to nod in approval and say, now's your time. But listen carefully, no one is coming to crown you. The crown is already yours. If you have the courage to wear it, you don't need validation to rise. You need self-trust. The kind of trust that says, even if I've never done it before, I was born for this. You've outsourced your authority for too long, handed it to teachers, bosses, critics, family. Let them decide what's too big for you. But deep down, you always knew you weren't made for limits. You weren't made for quiet compliance. You were made to build kingdoms, to bend history, to walk in fire and come out gold. So stop waiting for signs. You are the sign. Stop waiting for the light to turn green. You are the green light. The next chapter of your life doesn't begin with a provolete, it begins with ownership. And ownership starts with one decision. I'm done waiting. On Purposeful Pain 22. Don't run from the pain. Run through it. Because not all pain is destructive. Some pain is divine. It exists not to hurt you, but to birth you. Think of the butterfly. The cocoon is not a prison. It's a process. But to the caterpillar, it feels like suffocation. Darkness, constriction, isolation. Everything feels like death, but what's really dying is limitation. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. You say, this is too hard, but pressure is the price of purpose. Gold is not gold until it's burned in the fire. Diamonds are not diamonds until they're crushed by the earth. And you are no different. If it hurts, don't quit, lean in. Because pain is proof that transformation is happening. And one day, the same people who said, you've changed, will have no choice but to whisper, thank God you did. On Silence and Momentum 23, talk less, move more. The world is full of noise. People posting plans they'll never start, talking about empires they'll never build, declaring transformations they haven't earned. But silence is sacred, because real power moves in silence. While they're clapping for each other's potential, you'll be sculpting your reality. While they're talking about greatness, you'll be walking into it. Do not announce the seed. Grow the tree. Let your fruit do the talking. Let your results walk into rooms before your mouth ever opens. You don't owe the world a play-by-play. You owe your calling everything. And every day you choose silence over self-promotion, you gain one more inch of inner strength, one more layer of unstoppable momentum. The lion doesn't roar before the hunt. He stalks, he studies, he strikes. Be like that. Let your silence become lethal. On Legacy in Motion 24. You are not just living for today. You are building a bridge for every soul that will walk behind you. Someone you've never met is depending on you to begin. Your courage will become their permission. Your resilience will become their inspiration. Your discipline will echo in the bones of your children's children. Think of that, your voice, your fight, your rise rippling through generations. They may never know your name, but they will live inside the freedom you built. And isn't that the point? To live a life that plants seeds you'll never sit beneath, but someone else will? This isn't just about your goals. It's about your bloodline. It's about becoming the ancestor your future family will thank in silence. Begin, for them. On Vision and Resistance 25. The moment you decide to begin, you will face resistance. Not because you're on the wrong path, but because you've finally chosen the right one. Resistance doesn't show up when you're drifting. It shows up the moment you anchor your feet in purpose. Suddenly the distractions get louder. Doubt becomes a symphony. Everything, everyone, will seem to pull you backwards. That's how you know you're moving forward. Every great man in history met resistance at the gates of his becoming. Nelson Mandela sat behind bars for 27 years. They thought they had silenced him. But he was not shrinking. He was sharpening. He emerged not bitter, but bolder. And the world had no choice but to listen. You want to live a small life? Avoid resistance. You want to live a legendary one? Expect it, embrace it, outlast it. Because what fights you today will fear you tomorrow. On Simplicity and Commitment 26. Start small, but stay committed. This is not about dramatic gestures. This is not about one perfect moment. This is about showing up again and again and again. You want to change your life? Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Make one promise to yourself and keep it. Turn off the noise. Write one page. Take one walk. Say no to one thing that steals your time. Say yes to one thing that feeds your soul. And do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Because discipline compounds, and small hinges swing big doors. People underestimate consistency. They chase intensity, but forget that mountains are moved one stone at a time. So stop trying to leap over the entire staircase. Just take the first step, then take the next, and then take the next one, even when it's boring, even when it's quiet, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because behind the scenes, everything is. On the Power of One Choice 27. It only takes one choice. One decision to stop running. One decision to stop explaining. One decision to stop betraying your future for the comfort of your past. You don't need 10 years of preparation. You don't need 1 million followers. You don't need permission from your past. You just need one sacred moment of clarity, where everything inside you says, no more delay, no more distraction, no more fear. I begin now. And from that moment, everything changes. One choice can shift your momentum. One choice can create a new identity. One choice can unlock the strength that's been buried under decades of doubt. Every great comeback, every revolution, every world-shifting idea started with one choice. Why not let yours begin today? Why not now? On Alignment with Higher Calling 28. You are not just here to survive. You are here to serve something greater. There is a calling on your life, not a suggestion, not a possibility, a calling. And that calling is louder than your excuses, stronger than your wounds, deeper than your logic. Because God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Your job isn't to feel worthy. Your job is to answer. To say yes when every fear says, run. To say, I'm ready, even if your voice trembles. To say, use me, not because you have all the answers, but because you finally surrendered the illusion that you need them. You are the vessel. You are the instrument. You are the chosen one for this task. Not by accident, not by mistake, but by design. So step into alignment. Step into obedience. Step into destiny. And begin. While you still have time, now it's your turn. No more watching from the sidelines. No more scrolling past your destiny. No more pretending you're not ready, because you are. And deep down, you've always known it. Decide, move, become. Not next week, not when it's easy. Now, this is your time. And if this message lit a fire inside your soul, don't just let it burn quietly. Share it, live it, breathe it. Let the world feel the shift happening inside you. Save this, rewatch it when doubt returns. Because doubt always comes back, but now, so will your power. Stop apologizing for your ambition. Stop shrinking to fit in rooms you were born to redesign. Stop negotiating with fear like it ever deserved a seat at your table. From this moment on, you don't wait. You initiate. You don't ask for signs. You become the sign. You don't delay your legacy another second. Because from this moment forward, you begin, while you still have time.